Cache is finally back, and soon it will be added to the active map pool. When that happens, another map has to go, potentially discontinuing the entire collection of skins and souvenir packages. I see a huge opportunity here, so in this video, I'm going to break down the data to predict which map is most likely on the chopping block and which skins could have the best investing potential as a result. If you look at QD sentiment on Reddit, Twitter, or even podcasts, I'm hearing a lot of people discuss Inferno, but I think that's biased because people just don't know how to take banana properly in Premiere, and I don't want to base this entirely off opinions. So instead, let's start by taking a look at some actual data. This Leetify page shares the most played maps in Premiere for March. We find Mirage clearly in first place, Dust 2 in second, and then Inferno in third. Nuke and Ancient have an identical share at 12.1%. They're then followed by Anubis and Overpass. And if I just scroll through some of the prior month, you'll see the distribution is very similar. So Inferno isn't exactly underperforming. But what about in professional play? This video's sponsor, SkinSwap, is giving you a skin worth up to $50 entirely for free whenever you do your first trade and use my referral code. If you want to refresh your loadout, you can trade your skins for brand new ones in just a couple of seconds. Plus, their market tab now integrates cheap listings from Chinese sites so you can access the best prices without the need for a Chinese ID or bank account. They accept deposits via crypto, MasterCard, and Visa. If you want to cash out, SkinSwap makes that simple too with instant sell options to PayPal or crypto. On top of that, they run free daily, weekly, and monthly giveaways with the chance to earn extra entries simply by trading. Use the link below for a 3% lifetime sales bonus and a free skin worth up to $50. Big thanks to SkinSwap for supporting the channel. Let's have a look at the data for professional matches now. Here's the HLTV counts over the last 12 months for top 20 teams. Mirage, Dust 2, and Inferno are once again in the exact same 1, 2, 3 order. Nuke slightly surpasses Ancient, and then we see Overpass, Train, and Anubis. Now Anubis was only just reintroduced a few months ago, and this new version will be played for the first time at the Cologne Major, so I highly doubt it will be rotated out with such a short stint. Also, because it was not in the active map pool for the majority of the last 12 months, you also need to take that into consideration for its low play count. Train has been removed to be replaced by Anubis, so that's already gone and we can ignore it. Then we have Overpass. Overpass was reintroduced to the map pool in July of last year, so is the second most recent addition. It's not the most popular map, I certainly agree, but it's only been one season so far, and the fact that they left the Overpass collection in the armory suggests to me it's here to stay. I personally do not think Mirage, Dust 2, or Inferno will be taken out. They're all iconic and extremely popular maps, both in high level play and my hacker run lobbies. They're quintessential Counter-Strike, and even if it's cash coming back, I don't think it makes the cut. So that leaves us with Nuke and Ancient as our top contenders. Interestingly enough, if you had asked me which of these two maps would be more likely to go a couple of months back, I would have said Nuke without hesitation. They removed its 2018 skin collection from the active drop pool, and then the Spy and Tech theme in the Coursed Arms re-announcement made me think it would be a perfect replacement for a Nuke collection. However, if I now act under the assumption that the Spy and Tech theme is actually for cash, and the Arabian mythology is for Anubis' return, then that certainly throws a spanner in the works. And just because Nuke's collection got removed from active duty and is in dire need of an update, it doesn't mean it can't still be featured in future souvenir packages. Either way, I think there's a good chance it's either Nuke or Ancient that's on the chopping block, and because Nuke's collection was in active duty for around 7 years, supply of those skins is much higher relative to Ancient. We also saw significant growth after its removal a few months back. Therefore, from an investing perspective, my play is to get in on Ancient. And as an aside, I also think it does actually play a lot more similarly to Cache than to Nuke, with vents kind of like Donut, shelf leading to cave a bit like Highway, Z connector like Red Room. Anyway, how can we take advantage of this potential removal? In this table, I've summarized the float ranges for all of the skins, the cheapest listing on SkinSwap from the 1st of May, and then we have the total factory new supply. One exception is the famous Darkwater, which has minimal wear as its best condition due to the float cap. I didn't include souvenir supply at all in this table as its overall impact is pretty negligible. For instance, there were less than 100 souvenir Panthera Onkers in total when I checked the database, so I just excluded them entirely as they have no trade-up utility, and I usually stay away from souvenir skins for investments. What first stood out to me in this collection is that all of the classified and COVID skins have the full 0 to 1 float range, whilst not a single lower tier skin matches that. And there's actually a ton of different float caps in this collection, making trade-ups for the high rarities extremely difficult. This is actually quite similar to the Train 2025 collection in that manner. For context, especially for those who only joined Counter-Strike in recent years, Ancient was released as part of Operation Broken Fang back in 2020, and its collection skins were originally available to redeem in the Operation store for about 5 months, before being discontinued. Since then, it's been impossible to obtain any normal grade skins. Now they are still obtainable via souvenir packages, but both drop and unboxing rates for these are quite low. Here's a comparison, for example, in the supply of the Ancient Collection versus Anubis. Just 928 factory new coverts versus nearly 6,000. So overall its skins are quite rare. Now quickly, I do want to mention that this video is not professional financial advice. CS2 skins are virtual items and can be highly volatile. Past performance is not indicative of future results, so please do your own further research and consider your financial position before making any decisions. But obviously, we want to try and see which skins might be undervalued, or could see heightened demand if this collection gets discontinued entirely. And for me, the Tech9 Blast from the past mil-spec seems to be a standout contender. It's got the largest float range of the mil-specs, which inversely means it has the lowest factory new supply. You can see here, for example, that when it was in the Operation Broken Fang store, the factory new drop rate for the Tech9 was just 12.49% versus 55.5% for the All Carved Jade. But weirdly enough, the Tech9 is actually the cheapest mil-spec right now, despite having the lowest factory new supply and having the best trade-up utility. So I see that as a good opportunity. I've already picked up 5 of them around the $36 price point. Further down, a similar case for the Ancient Ritual for the Industrials. The cheapest skin of that rarity, but once again the largest float range and lowest factory new supply. For the consumers, the SSG Jungle Dash and R8 Revolver Knight are two of the priciest, given those two have the largest float ranges. But the SG553 Lush Ruins isn't far off, with a 0.7 cap instead of 0.8. But about half the price. If I was buying it at this rarity, that's probably where I'd be putting my money. If you don't want to buy into any skins in particular, another approach would be the souvenir packages. If we take a look at this Austin Train package, for instance, you'll see it was selling for about $3.50 throughout December and early January, and then once the announcement came that Train was getting removed for Anubis' return, prices quickly went up to about $5.50. Now I'm not actually sure why there was this spike in early December, so if anyone has an idea, please let me know. I'm not sure the Ancient packages will necessarily see immediate growth like this, however, as it has been featured in 8 major tournaments so far, and Cologne will be the 9th. Although as I was browsing Steam, overall supply did seem extremely slim, which means it wouldn't take a lot of capital for prices to rise. Right now, these are the prices on SkinSwap. The cheapest entry points are Paris and Austin, so those could be a good buy. Alternatively, if you have a strong conviction that Stockholm or Antwerp stickers are significantly better, for example, you could also buy in there. It can be hard to weigh up if these slightly higher prices are worth it for the lower supply, so diversifying might be a smarter play. Personally, I've decided to pick up some of the cheaper Paris packages alongside a number of Stockholm. If you've made it this far, I've got something for you. I'm giving away a pair of field-tested driver glove hand sweaters to one of you this month. To enter, just like the video and leave a comment on which CS2 skin you think is the most overrated. I'll be picking the winner on May 31st. Good luck. If it does turn out that a different map gets rotated, whether that be Nuke, Overpass, or Val surprises us out of left field, I don't think these items are a bad hold regardless. Map packages don't tend to see a huge amount of volatility over time unless there are specific map changes or they're linked to an armory rotation, which these ones are not. And if you disagree with my pick of Ancient, then you can follow a very similar process for whichever map you think is on the way out. Look at the Nuke skins, identify potentially undervalued skins due to their float cap and supply discrepancies, or buy a few souvenir packages. I will say Overpass is a bit of a different beast, given it will likely see an armory lifespan of roughly 2 years at this point, so tread with caution there. I'm very interested to see how Sport and Field performs over the next 6 to 12 months, as it might help give a better indication of how Overpass 2024 might do moving forward. Please let me know in the comments what you think of this breakdown, and check out one of these videos next. Thanks so much for watching, and take care.